Hey, this is Sid. I'm with Lucky Lady Quilt Co. And this week I'm going to be fixing my favorite pair of pants, denim pants. I ripped them, sadly. I think I just wore them out to the point that I was working on them in the garden and I just felt the rip happen. Happily I was at home. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to fix at least I'm trying to patch the whole rip with a quilted patch that I'm gonna make, and it's gonna cover pretty much, it'll follow the seams, so it'll be a large portion of the back pant, but it will be a fun design, so I think it will look okay as opposed to just having like a random patch of fabric on the jeans. But yeah, so I'm gonna take the pocket off, add the patch, put the pocket back on, so it kind of adds a fun design element and then also more stability. But yeah, I'm hopeful it will work, but we'll see. So let's get started. All right, so this is the rip that we're working with. It is pretty big and it pretty much covers the entire right hand side of the jeans. There's a tiny little rip on the front knee, but other than that, everything seems to look okay. So then I had cut out 4 different squares of fabric. 2 were navy and the other 2 were different shades of blue. And I had layered the navy with the other shade of blue, and then with chalk I drew 3 different columns or rows that were 4 inches apart, and then I also added diagonal lines and then sewed on either side of the diagonal line to create half square triangle blocks. All in all, I made 18 half square triangle blocks using this single block method, which was so satisfying, and I highly recommend it if you need to make a ton of just half square triangles for a project you're working on. When squaring up the half square triangle blocks, I made sure that each block was 3.5 inches unfinished, so when sewn together, I think they ended up being around 3 inches. Trying to create the pattern draft for this project was the hardest part of the entire thing. It was difficult to follow the curve of the pants since the pants were they definitely are well worn, so the fabric has stretched and it was a bit difficult to tell where I needed to pull extra fabric from, especially when it came to like the inside of the pant and wrapping around the leg. I found that the easiest way to go about it was to lay the fabric down, pin it in place, and then using chalk, just following the seams around the right side of the pant, and then adding the seam allowance after. So once I had cut out the shape that I was looking for, I had used the navy fabric to trace the shape onto the quilt top, and then the adhesive. I ended up ironing the adhesive onto the quilt top in hopes that it will stabilize the seams and that they won't rip apart when I'm sitting down in the pants or just high traffic use. And then from there, I wanted to sandwich the adhesive between the navy fabric and the quilt top, and I accidentally sewed them together on the wrong side. So this is me unpicking what I had done accidentally and redoing it. Thankfully, I hadn't sewn the entire thing together incorrectly. I had just gone halfway through before realizing, so it was an easy fix. I finally added the patch to the back of the pants, and it was difficult, but not as hard as I expected it to be. I think there were two big hurdles that I came across, at least for me, that one of them was putting the pocket back on so it was symmetrical with the other side. For some reason, I really struggled with that, and I like ended up pinning the pocket, trying the pants on so many times, and then finally I got it into a good spot. And then the other part that I really struggled with was drafting the pattern and adding seam allowance, because I added lining to the back side of like the quilt top, or I guess the quilted design, I don't know what to call it. But it surprisingly went well and I didn't have to redo it. But yeah, I think in hindsight, I wouldn't do anything differently. I would just be a bit more meticulous, but even then it was still fine. But I am really happy that I added the lining, adhesive, and then the quilt top detailing together, because if these seams like split open, which hopefully they won't because of the adhesive, I will at least not have my butt exposed, and the lining will save me. So I am happy that I did that, and it was worth the struggle. But now I think I'm going to add a patch to the front knee where I have another rip. That way it kind of just ties the whole look together, as opposed to just having like a random quilted patch on the butt. It'll at least like tie into the front. So I'm gonna work on that now, and then I'll be back with the finished look. I am really happy with how the pants patches turned out. I am going to wear them out in the world and see how durable they are. So if anything happens, I'll let y'all know, but for the most part, I think that they're gonna hold up just fine, and I'm pleased with the design, and might try a similar patch on another pair of pants. So stay tuned. Thanks. Bye.